Hello and welcome to Tech Deals Game Performance Review Grand Theft Auto 5. We're playing Grand Theft Auto 5 today on the $400 Acer Aspire T desktop computer. I've previously reviewed this computer, link in the video description below, and a link to the full playlist of videos on this machine. For $400, it is an incredible value for the money. Standard configuration is an Intel i5-6400 CPU. This is a 6th generation, which is currently the latest and greatest from Intel. 4 cores, 4 threads, up to 3.3 gigahertz. Excellent processor. We have 8 gigabytes of RAM standard, and Intel's HD 530 integrated graphics also come standard with this machine. I have made several upgrades. The first is the RAM has been upgraded to 16 gigabytes and a solid state drive has been installed. Videos showing that are in the video description below. We are testing 2 different graphics cards today, the MSI RX 462 gigabyte card and the EVGA GeForce GTX 1050 Ti 4 gigabyte card. I have previously reviewed both of these cards separately, and a link to those reviews will also be in the video description below. If you have not seen them, more details about these cards and why they're good are in those videos. We are playing today at 1080p Full HD resolution, ultra and high detail presets, more on that in a minute. Anti-aliasing is on for the ultra preset and it is off for the high detail preset. VSync has been turned off for all the tests that you will see today. Fraps was used for the minimum, maximum, and average game performance numbers that I will show you at the end of this video. It was not used to record the video. Instead, an HD60 Pro hardware capture card was used on another computer, so there is no effect on the gaming performance that you see here. The numbers in green at the top left corner of the screen are from MSI Afterburner, a free program that you can download from MSI.com and get more information in real time about how your computer is performing when you're playing games. Now, I mentioned before that we're running both high and ultra detail settings. I showed those at the beginning of this particular run. This, as you can see from the title card in the upper right hand corner, is the ultra detail settings for the RX 460. At the end of this video, I will show you both ultra and high detail results for the RX 460. I am only going to show you the ultra results for the GTX 1050 Ti. The 1050 Ti is a faster card, but it's also more expensive, and it has 4 gigabytes of VRAM. 2 gigabytes of VRAM is not really enough to run with all the details turned up in Grand Theft Auto 5. If you looked at the estimated VRAM usage in the settings at the very beginning of this video, it was north of 3 gigabytes, which this card does not have. It's running, it works, but it does have to swap stuff in and out of memory, and the frame rate is not all that it could be. So I will show you both of those at the end of this video. It is playable. It's responsive. Because of our fast Intel processor, the game was very responsive. There was no input lag. When I would press the keys, the car moves, the gun shoots. It's very responsive. It's just not very smooth in terms of frame rate. And that's something that gets overlooked a lot, the difference between a high frame rate and a high responsiveness. Well, lack of tires will cause you to go into the water. That'll kind of ruin your whole day. Let's switch over to high detail and show you the performance. And here we are on the high detail settings. I'll pull them up here in a second so you can see what they look like, but essentially the performance is much better. Now, the VRAM estimated usage is still 2.2 gigabytes. It doesn't matter, it's going to run just fine. As I scroll this list down, take a look. Everything is set to high detail. Instead of very high and ultra like it was in the first run, now we've set everything to high. Otherwise, all the settings are the same. The only other change that was made is that anti-aliasing is turned off. Why? Well, to be honest, it takes away performance, and I wanted to give this card as good a chance as possible. If you can run with everything cranked to the max, that's great, but if you can't, well, maybe turning anti-aliasing off makes sense. That is definitely a personal choice. Complete side note, this big rig is my favorite truck to drive around and cause destruction, which you're going to see here in a few minutes. It is an absolute blast because its mass, its engine power allows you to crash into everything and cause a complete mess and still keep driving away. They can shoot at your truck all they want, and for some reason, It never seems to do that much damage to you. I would like how you're shooting directly behind you. Your arm is not out the window, and yet you're still shooting the bad guys. Wait, bad guys? Cops. Oh, that was epic. Did you see the train hit that car? What? Don't try to beat the train in your car. That's just stupid. Alright, let's get back to the performance for a minute. Now, taking a look at the MSI Afterburner numbers in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see that our graphics processor, our GPU, is at 100%. That is the primary limitation of more performance, is the graphics card, not the CPU. It's also running at a moderately warm 69 degrees Celsius, but that is very nice considering that this is a small one-fan card installed in a pre-built computer that has no case fans or airflow whatsoever, except for the small power supply fan. It's actually pretty good, all things considered. The clock speed, ouch, that hurt. The clock speed is about 1150 megahertz, and we're currently using 1.8 gigabytes of our 2 gigabytes of VRAM. Our CPU, the Intel i5-6400, excellent processor by the way, great balance of price and performance, which is why most of the mid-level gaming machines and even general computers that I recommend all have an i5-6500 in them. This says we're currently using 86, 87%, there's 88% CPU power. What does that mean? That means that Grand Theft Auto 5 uses about 3 cores. There's times it uses 4, there's times it uses 2, but it plays better on a 4-core chip than it does on a 2-core chip. Epic slide there, by the way. That is so much fun to do. Power slide in a big rig. Now, can you play Grand Theft Auto 5 on an i3 dual-core processor? Yes, you can. Part of it is, it depends on where in Grand Theft Auto 5 you're at. Oh, ouch, bam! That was a nice recovery. If you take a look, you'll see that sometimes the CPU usage is down at 50% and sometimes it's up at 70 to 75%. An i3 only has 2 cores, but it does have hyper-threading, which means that it accepts 4 instructions at once, even if it cannot in fact execute 4 at once. What's really impressive is our CPU temperature. Take a look at that, 55 degrees. Considering that we are using our CPU very hard, it is running at generally over 75% most of the time. The fact that the CPU is around 55 degrees Celsius is amazing. This is a small pre-built computer with a very small single fan on the CPU itself, nothing fancy. There are no case fans in this machine. Epic power slide once again, and I'm trying to go forward, and it would help tremendously if I take the brakes off. There we go, now we can go forward. The fact that this CPU runs so cool, frankly, I find very impressive. System RAM, line 4. Oh, are we gonna miss? We're gonna miss! Just pro skills. Yep, that was pro skills. We're using 5.5 gigabytes of RAM. If you want to play Grand Theft Auto 5 at these detail settings, the 8 gigabytes of RAM that the machine comes with are just fine. You don't have to upgrade the RAM to 16. Now, I still would. Why? Because this is a completely clean test machine. There is nothing on this computer. You are going to end up with programs in the task tray, multiple game loaders running. Windows just creeps over time. You end up with programs and things. Unless you have nothing on your machine, you are likely to have more going on. Furthermore, unused system RAM is going to make open world games like Grand Theft Auto 5 run smoother. Not faster, smoother. There's a difference. Why? Windows will use over time your available free memory for disk cache. It will keep the most frequently used files in your system RAM instead of loading them off of your hard drive or your solid state drive. Because we drive around in such a large area, large files get loaded from your hard drive or SSD. With only 8 gigabytes of RAM, those have to be dumped and eliminated whenever new stuff gets loaded. But with 16 gigs of RAM, Windows can keep far more of the files in disk cache, reducing swapping to your storage, making transitions, loading, and new areas of the game smoother than they otherwise would be. This does not really affect your average frame rate. Instead, it more affects the overall user experience of the computer more than anything else. Now, there are other games I've tested on this machine. Battlefield 1 comes to mind, that really do need the 16 gigs of RAM. They really won't run very well. Average frame rate and minimum frame rate will... Ow! Did you see that car just get kicked right off the side of the road? Holy... Oh, wait! Oh! That's gotta... Wait, one more. You would think the cops at some point, oh, don't go down there. What in the world am I thinking? This is a bad idea. Look at the map. It's a dead end. There's an ocean out there. Oh, wait. Nope. That's gonna hurt. We're gonna feel that in the morning. I think this truck's offspring are gonna feel that in the morning. My mechanic is gonna feel that in the morning. Oh, well, yeah, sure, this is a means of escape. Let's just drive a big rig down a bunch of rocks towards the ocean. Hang on, it gets better. We'll get there. So, that's enough about the RAM. I would upgrade it. It's entirely up to you, of course. In games like this, it will work without it, but it's smoother. Then you see our real-time frame rate. If you were watching the real-time frame rate at ultra detail, you'll notice it's much better here. It was much more playable. The whole experience was far superior at high detail instead of ultra detail. Now let me be clear about something. The RX 460 2GB MSI card is a $100 card. The EVGA GTX 1050 Ti 4GB is a $150 card. So while this does not have the performance of the 1050 Ti, it's $50 less expensive. Take this $100 card and put it into this $400 machine, and for $500 even, you're playing Grand Theft Auto 5 at 60 frames a second at high detail. That's pretty cool. Grand Theft Auto 5 being a big open world game. No, it's not a new game. It didn't come out last week. The PC version of this game came out about a year and a half ago, but still, it's fairly detailed. And the fact that you can play this, well, look, we're almost at 70 frames, 75, 80 frames per second on a $100 graphics card in a $400 pre-built machine. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to play cool AAA titles like Grand Theft Auto 5. Oh, watch this. Pro skills, bounce, jump, we're cool. Yep, we're just driving along. You know, I didn't even mention that I stole this. Ow! They're shooting at me. Stop that, cops. Come on, I only stole this truck and ran over 100 cops and shot everybody. Wait. Okay, let's do something fun. Wait for it. Almost. Wait for it. Grenade, and there we go. Excuse me, police officers. You really should watch out for that. The grenade I left for you. Sorry about that. All right, let's go take a look at the GTX 1050 Ti performance, shall we? And here we are. I'm showing you the details just so you can see what they are on the GTX 1050 Ti with basically every detail cranked to max. There you go. Very high, ultra, full screen. Aliasing is turned on. Let's see how well this performs when we give it enough VRAM and a faster chip. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is take a look at the line 2 VRAM, or the memory line. 3.3 gigabytes of VRAM. Now this is interesting because we were only using 1.8, 1.9 gigabytes of VRAM, even at ultra detail, on the 2 gigabyte card, the RX 460. Why? Because it only has 2 gigs. It can't use more than it has. So, now that we have a 4 gigabyte card installed, it's using the VRAM. Take a look at the performance. We are at 60 frames per second at much higher detail. No, the RX 460 was not doing this. Now, is the higher detail settings and higher performance worth it to you for $50, which is the price difference between these two cards? That's a personal choice. If it is, by all means. If you plan to play Battlefield 1, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5, I personally think the extra $50 is worth it. On the other hand, Overwatch doesn't care. Many other games don't care, and price might be paramount to you. Furthermore, you may be watching this video outside the United States. The country you live in, maybe the price difference is greater. Maybe it's smaller. If they're the same price, well then get the 1050 Ti, there's no question. What if they're $100 apart where you live? Fair enough. I don't know that I would pay the extra $100 for the 1050 Ti over the 460. Would I pay $50? Yeah, honestly, I would, given the games I play and given the performance I like to see. The extra 2 gigabytes of VRAM, the extra overall performance, I do think it's worth the $50, but that's a personal choice and it depends upon what games you play. The other thing I would like to note is with more video RAM, we're using more system RAM. Take a look at our main system RAM usage, 7.2 gigabytes. This would still run fine on 8 gigabytes of RAM. it would not be as smooth. Transitioning between areas would be slower because our main system RAM is being almost fully utilized with the higher details that can be loaded compared to the 2 GB card. And this is an interesting thing that's worth investigating in the future. I have not paid as much attention to this. I haven't done as many comparisons in terms of RAM usage versus video card VRAM usage, and it's something that I might want to investigate in the future. That guy dodged out of the way just in time. Does more video RAM on your video card and higher detail settings use more system RAM compared to the same settings and lower performance if you have less VRAM on your video card? That being said, if you're going to spend $150 to install a video card into this machine, not spending the $30 to $40 it costs to upgrade the RAM to 16 makes 0 sense to me whatsoever. You're looking at $550 for this machine with this video card and the computer as it comes. You're looking at about $580, $590 with the doubling of RAM to 16 gigabytes. The other benefit, and it doesn't make a huge difference, but it is a minor one, is that when you install an additional 8 gigabytes of RAM, you take the RAM and put it in dual channel mode. The system, as it comes by default, comes with one 8 gigabyte memory stick. There are 2 memory slots inside. When you install a second stick of memory, it does not make the access time of the RAM faster. Instead, it makes the transfer rate of the RAM faster. This does not actually make a big difference in most games. There are a handful of exceptions, but generally where faster RAM speeds make a difference, faster RAM transfer speeds make a difference, is in non-gaming activities, content creation, video rendering, 3D animation, heavy multitasking, virtual. That was a stupid impact. But it's amazing, the car's still drivable. I think if I did that to a real car, I think it would be totaled. Oh, well, it's a game. It's not supposed to be realistic. If it was real, it wouldn't be any fun now, would it? So you do get a minor benefit, a couple of frames, maybe 1 or 2 frames per second, depending upon the game, by having your RAM in dual channel. The other numbers are all very, very similar. Our GPU usage, our CPU usage are all very similar. Our temperatures are very similar from the first... Ouch! Oh! That's gotta hurt. That was an expensive accident. Those look like very nice cars. Oh well, now he's upside down, stuck in his car. I should have tossed a grenade his way. Ooh, wait, am I going to? I actually don't remember. I need to toss a grenade at these guys. It would be absolutely hilarious. If you're ever going to use one, I didn't. Shame on me, I should have used a grenade. Well, that's enough gameplay. How about we go take a look at the performance? And here we are at the performance. Let's start off comparing the 2 ultra detail runs. The MSI RX 460 2GB card averaged 43 frames per second. The EVGA GTX 1050 Ti averaged 55 frames per second. It was a noticeable difference. The playability, the overall smoothness of the play was definitely noticeable. Now, when we lower the details from ultra to high on the RX 460, look what happens. We go from 43 frames per second to 66 frames per second. Some of that difference is simply the lower detail settings allowing the card to run faster. Some of it, however, is the fact that it's a 2 GB card and we were a little bit VRAM starved at ultra detail. It works. It's playable. But on a 2 GB card, you really want to be at high detail, not ultra detail. Did you like this video? Give it a like and share it with your friends. Remember to subscribe using the subscribe button below the video. Leave a question or comment in the comment section below and check out the video description. Lots of links down there. First of all, Amazon and Newegg for the 2 video cards. Amazon for the Acer Aspire T desktop. Awesome $400 deal. Links to my full playlist on that Acer Aspire T desktop and links to my video reviews on both the MSI and the EVGA graphics cards all down in the video description below. Thank you so much for watching my video. I will see you next time.